Hi, Sally Walker here, your hormone and slow age expert. So what screws up the microbiome? Let's have a little look at that. What is harmful? What is not good for your microbiome? Well, let's start another place and talk about how the microbiome is actually formed. Because when we are born, we don't have a microbiome, basically. Our guts are completely sterile, our skin is sterile, etc. And what is important here is that we make our entrance into this world through the birth canal. Because coming through the vagina, coming through mum's vagina is going to cover us in bacteria. And the medical world know this today. So if you do have to deliver your child through cesarean section, or you yourself was delivered with cesarean section, they actually do take the microbiome from the vaginas of the mum and cover it, the baby in it. So we know that this is important. The next thing that is important is breast milk, because breast milk will also have some of these amazing bacteria. So if you have been born through cesarean section, if you've not been given breast milk as a baby, your microbiome would have been very slow in developing. And maybe it could be one of the reasons why as a child you had lots of symptoms and disease states, etc. So think a little bit about this, ladies, if you're considering cesarean section. Now, cesarean section can be necessary. I mean, obviously there are some ladies where it is not possible to deliver the child naturally, and cesarean sections are there to help with this, obviously. And as I said, the medical world know today that the bacteria is very important, so the child will be covered with bacteria from the mother's vagina. So that's good. But breast milk is very, very important. So please feed your babies as long as possible with breast milk. Okay, so that's it. So we've got the microbiome, so how can we mess it up? Well, any kind of environmental pollutants, toxins, and here I'm thinking about things which are in the creams, in the foods, in the plastics, and all these kind of things. We need to be very particularly careful with these. So remember, the microbiome is also on your skin, so be very wary of what you choose of skin products, because this can actually harm the microbiome. And did you know actually you can buy products today for your skin which actually do have some of the good bacteria in them? So this could be an excellent choice if you're suffering with various skin conditions like the rosaceas, the acne, the inflammations, all this kind of thing. Perhaps using one of these special oils and creams could be a good idea for you. So what else? Well, anything that's going to kill bugs. So killing bugs, we would use antibiotics, penicillins, this kind of thing. Yeah, again, it could be very necessary for you to have these antibiotics. There are some bad bugs you need to kill, but be aware that they also will kill off the good stuff. So they can create dysbiosis, especially in the guts. So it's important to support the good bacteria with some probiotics as you are taking these antibiotics, and definitely after you've finished with your course of antibiotics. So other medications can also affect the microbiome. So the statins, the medication for cholesterols, the NSAIDs, so the non-steroid anti-inflammatory drugs, so things like your ibuprofens, your PPIs, your proton pump inhibitors, so these medications which will decrease stomach acid. Again, it can be important if you have reflux, if you're having stomach acid coming up your esophagus. This is not a healthy thing, but normally it is not because of too much stomach acid. It's because the stomach acid is where it shouldn't be, as in your esophagus. And that probably has something to do with the valve between the esophagus and the stomach, which is not closing properly, so the stomach acid is seeping out. Not good. And the other drugs which actually can affect your microbiome are going to be the SSRIs, so the selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. So these medication for depression, that kind of thing. So be a little bit aware of these drugs. If you're taking any of this medication, be sure to get some probiotics. It's very, very important, okay? Then there can be things like pro-inflammatory foods. So many of you that may have listened to me before know that I'm not a big lover of many of the plant foods because they do contain a lot of omega-6 fatty acids, which are pro-inflammatory. They also contain a lot of lectins and phytates and oxalates, which in themselves will create problems in the gut and can create these dysbiosis. So be very wary of these, and especially if you do have gut problems, I would say they should be the first things that you would remove from your diet for 30 days to see if anything changes. And if it changes positively, then you'll know there's something in those plant foods that you do not tolerate. So foods and drinks that contain added sugars, excess sugars, like the sodas especially, any of the processed foods actually will have lots of added sugars of some description. So these can feed the bad bacteria and create a dysbiosis in your microbiome. As does persistent eating or eating late at night, this kind of thing. The gut needs a break to repair and heal itself, so make sure that you're giving it that. And taking time to eat, sit yourselves down, look at your foods, enjoy being present with the wonderful food that you have made for yourself. So this is a really good one as well, because stress, especially emotional stress, will affect the microbiome, as does lack of sleep and lack of exercise. And you're all thinking you're going to get away with the alcohol, aren't you? Yes, no, it is on the list. It does affect our microbiome, and as does smoking. So nothing good to say about smoking, as I always say. Anyway, have a look at the article. It's down there in the blog, and you can read all through the things which are going to screw up your microbiome. So please try to avoid as many of them as possible. Happy hormones, happy life.